Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be looking into the unit roster of Achilles. His army focuses on great speed and maneuverability, as well as versatility in the battlefield, and has the largest number of faction unique units. This video will serve as a guide for determining what units to bring to the battlefield and how to use them. First on the roster are the militia. These are a basic cannon fodder unit with shields and extremely low upkeep cost of 80 food. They have a nice missile block rate of 40%. They are lightweight class infantry, extremely lightly armored, have low morale, but they are pretty fast with a speed of 48. These units are considered expendable, so when they rout, it will not lower the morale of non-expendable units. They have a melee attack of 22, melee defense of 28, with decent damage of 74. These guys should be sent into the frontline engagement before the main line engages, or you can use them to flank the enemy front line using their high speed or chasing down missile units. Now we have the Young Spears. These guys are lightweight class infantry, have poor defense, good charge bonus though. Also, they are weak versus missile units. They have a low upkeep cost of 85 food. They're extremely low armor value with no shields, makes them prime targets for missile units. These guys need to be kept out of missile fire if possible. They have low morale, pretty decent speed of 48, 26 melee attack, 28 melee defense with 78 damage. They also do bonus damage against axemen and swordsmen. They have a charge bonus of 24, which makes them good for cycle charging or just using them to tie up enemy missile units. Here we see the spearmen again. They are another low-cost infantry unit. They are a medium weight class unit with poor attack, but they are shielded, giving them a missile block rate of 40%. They have a low melee attack of 18, but they have 36 melee defense, so they can be used to hold down the front line quite well. They have a damage of 78 with bonus damage versus axemen and swordsmen. Decent morale. These guys should be used for your frontline formation in the early game. They are quite cost effective with their upkeep cost of only 105 food. Light swordsmen. These are another lightweight class unit. They are classified as experts in flanking, and they are shielded with a missile block rate of 40%. They have decent armor and morale, pretty fast for their armor value, 26 melee attack, 36 melee defense with 75 damage. These guys are similar to the spearmen, but they have higher attack with the same melee defense value. And they also do increase damage when flanking an enemy unit. They also have slightly higher food upkeep cost of 135 food. You should use them to flank the enemy front line or chase down enemy missile infantry. Aeginian runners are the first of the unique units for Achilles. They are lightweight class sword and shield infantry. They are considered experts in flanking, swift-footed, and have special missile weapons. They have decent armor with a missile block rate of 40%, pretty high morale, and are very fast with a speed of 55. Their melee attack is decent with a value of 28 and a melee defense of 38 with damage of 113. They have 3 ammunition and a missile damage of 20 with decent armor piercing value. They also have increased bonuses when flanking enemy units. They are a cost-effective unit, only costing 110 food for upkeep. These guys should definitely be used for flanking the enemy front lines or chasing down missile infantry. Now we have the Phthian spears. They are a heavyweight class spear and shield infantry. They are fairly slow, but have the ability to switch to two-handed spears. Their upkeep cost is 85 food and 30 bronze. They have decent armor and have a missile block rate of 50%. They have decent melee attack of 36 and high melee defense at 55 with a damage of 90. These guys should be utilized as frontline units or in reserve to defend the flanks. The renowned club warriors are medium weight class, two-handed club infantry with charger but poor armor piercing values. Their upkeep cost is 110 food and 25 bronze. They have decent armor and high morale, decent melee attack of 40, and melee defense of 34 with low damage of 58. Their charge bonus is really the only thing they have going for them at a value of 26. They should be used for cycle charging the enemy flanks or bolstering your front lines, but there are better options. Next up, we have the Champions of Phthia. These guys are a heavyweight class club and shield infantry with an upkeep cost of 110 food and 30 bronze. They have resistance to flanking and are unbreakable. They have high armor and missile block rate of 60%. Morale is very high. 40 melee attack, 50 melee defense with damage of 160. These guys should be used to guard the flanks because of their resistance to flanking. Another unique faction unit for Achilles, the Thessalian Marines. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing it. They are lightweight class, two-handed spear infantry with an upkeep cost of only 170 food. They are considered experts in flanking, have charger, and are swift-footed. They have a fairly low armor value, but high morale, a high speed of 55, melee attack of 44, and a melee defense of 42 with damage of 100. Charge bonus is fairly high at 32. They have the ability to stalk, so you can hide these units in the forest or tall grass for easier flanking opportunities. Now here's the beefy part of the unit roster, the Heavy Swordsmen. These are a heavyweight class sword and shield infantry with an upkeep cost of 115 food and 50 bronze. They are very slow, but have resistance to flanking and have special missile weapons. They have an extremely high armor value and are shielded with a missile block rate of 65%, high morale, melee attack of 38, melee defense of 52 with damage of 125. They have 2 ammunition and 22 missile damage with decent armor piercing value. For frontline units, these guys would be a better choice between them and the Champions of Phthia because the Heavy Swordsmen almost have 17,000 health versus the Champions of Phthia only having 8,000 health. The Renowned Phthian Spears. They are another frontline unit. These guys are heavyweight class spear and shield infantry with an upkeep cost of 120 food and 40 bronze. They have resistance to flanking and can switch to two-handed spears if needed. They have high armor with a missile block rate of 65%. Morale is high but speed is quite low. Melee attack of 38 and a melee defense of 52 with a damage of 125 with bonus damage against swordsmen and axemen. These guys should be mixed in with your heavy swordsman front line, and they should also be placed on the flanks. Next up we have the Pelagic Thessalians. They are a unique faction unit. They are a medium weight class two-handed spear infantry with an upkeep cost of 150 food and 30 bronze. They are considered experts in flanking, have excellent charge and ability to stalk, meaning they are hidden to enemies until they are right in front of them. They also have improved combat bonuses when flanking the enemy units, decent armor and high morale, very high speed of 55, melee attack of 52, and a decently high melee defense, high damage of 100 with a charge bonus of 39. These guys should definitely be hidden in the trees so that they have the opportunity to flank the enemy front lines. With a speed of 55, they can also chase down enemy missile units. Here we have another unique faction unit for Achilles, the Spear Fighting Myrmidons. They are a medium weight class spear and shield infantry with resistance to flanking, option to switch to two-handed spears, unbreakable, and have an upkeep cost of 145 food and 60 bronze. These are quite an expensive unit. They have high armor and a missile block rate of 55%, decent speed, high melee attack, melee defense, and damage with bonus damage against swordsmen and axemen, decent charge bonus as well as armor-piercing ammunition with the missile damage of 44. These guys should be utilized on the flanks of the frontline formation. They are better than the renowned Phthian spears in every aspect. Only downside is the upkeep cost. Myrmidon swordsmen are the last of the unique melee infantry unit for Achilles. They are a medium weight class sword and shield infantry with immunity to flanking and are unbreakable. They have an upkeep cost of 140 food and 60 bronze. They have high armor and missile block rate of 55, very high morale, decent speed, high melee attack of 60, and a fairly high melee defense of 46. These guys' strength lie in their damage with a value of 160, and they also have a charge bonus of 32. They have armor-piercing missiles with missile damage of 44. These guys are unbreakable, so they should be used for flanking to fully utilize their kit. If they happen to get collapsed on while flanking, they have unbreakable to stay in the fight. Now we are moving on to the ranged units of the roster. First up, we have the Achaean Slingers. These are the same as the ones on the Spartan roster, the lowest tier of the missile infantry. They are lightweight class slinger infantry with poor armor piercing value, poor morale, and a large ammunition supply. Their upkeep cost is only 85 food, which makes them quite cheap. They have 5 armor, so any missile fire against these guys will deal massive damage. Terrible combat stats, but that's to be expected of missile infantry. They have 38 ammunition, 160 range, 21 missile damage. These guys should be used to fire at the enemy missile infantry or fire at the flanks of the enemy front line. Do not use these guys to fire at heavily armored infantry. They will not be effective at all. Here we have the javelin throwers. These guys are lightweight class javelin infantry with great armor piercing value and decent range. They have low armor and morale, low melee combat stats, missile damage of 27. These guys should be used to flank around the enemy front lines and volley into their backs. These are a very cheap unit, only costing 90 food upkeep, but can still be devastating if managed properly. Let's look into the basic bowmen. These are lightweight class bow infantry with an upkeep cost of 110 food. Nothing too special about these guys. They have good ammunition and range with fairly decent missile damage. These guys should be used as basic missile infantry firing into the enemy missile units or providing supportive fire on the front lines. Now we have the upgraded versions of the javelin throwers. Aeginian javelinmen are a lightweight class javelin infantry with shields and an upkeep cost of 90 food and 30 bronze. They have fairly low armor, but a missile block rate of 40%, good morale and high speed. They have decent melee combat stats, so they should be able to defend themselves against basic infantry units. Decent ammunition but short range. High missile damage of 34 with good armor piercing value. These guys should be used similar to the javelin throwers, firing at the enemy front line's backs. Their speed also makes them quite slippery. Now we have some beefy javelin throwers. They are heavyweight class javelin infantry with an upkeep cost of 100 food and 25 bronze. They have high armor with shields, but their missile block rate is only 20%. Morale is decently high, melee combat stats are decent as well. Good ammunition, good range, and missile damage. They also have good armor piercing values. These guys need to be utilized carefully. They aren't as fast as the other javelin throwers, but they can take out the enemy missile infantry quite easily. Leave these guys in the front line so that they can get a few volleys off before having to retreat behind the main line. You can bring them around the flanks for volleys into the enemy's backs or volleys into the enemy missile units. Here we have the renowned armored slingers. They're the same as the ones on the Spartan roster. These guys are medium weight class slinger infantry with an upkeep cost of only 190 food. They are good versus other missile units, have excellent accuracy, and are armored. They have 180 range, which allows them the ability to outrange most lower tier missile infantry. They also have pretty high missile damage of 48. The heavy Achilles bowmen. These guys are a medium weight class bow infantry with an upkeep cost of 170 food. They are decently armored and have high morale, low speed, decent melee combat stats. They have a lot of ammunition and very good range. Missile damage is good as well. These guys should be used as basic missile infantry. If you can, get these guys firing into the enemy missiles. They will easily win against the lower tier ranged units due to their high armor value. Now we move on to the chariot portion of the roster. There's nothing too special about these chariots. They are the same ones as the Spartan roster. First, we have the chariots. They are a medium weight class chariot unit with an upkeep cost of 160 food. They are two-handed spears with good speed. They have decent armor stats, melee attack of 28 and melee defense of 24. Although they should be used for psychocharging and not left in prolonged combat. Charge bonus of 50 makes this a great unit for psychocharging. They also have bonus damage versus large. Lastly, we have the reinforced chariots, which are a heavyweight class chariot unit with an upkeep cost of 190 food and 45 bronze. They have high armor stat of 70 and decent speed of 65. Melee attack is 38 and melee defense is 28. Charge bonus is 60, and again, these guys should be used for cyclocharging and not prolonged combat. Now we are moving on to the mythical units. Achilles has access to the most mythical units in the game. There are 3 variations of the giant unit. First being the Giant Vanguard. They are lightweight class club and shield infantry. They have very low armor but a 60% missile block rate, decent morale, and high speed. Melee attack of 32, melee defense of 22 with a very high damage of 200. They also do bonus damage to large units and have decent charge bonus. These guys should be mixed in with your front line to make sure you win the frontline battle, or they can flank the enemy front line with their high speed of 52. These guys also have Vanguard deployment, so you can deploy them in the forest to give them the opportunity to flank when the front lines clash. The Armored Giant Spearmen. These guys are a heavyweight class spear and shield infantry. They have high armor and huge block rate of 85%. Morale is decently high, speed is pretty high for being armored, melee attack of 35 and melee defense of 33 with a very high damage of 193 with good armor piercing value. They also have enough ammunition for 2 volleys with decent range of 125 and very high missile damage of 105 with good armor piercing values as well. These guys should be mixed in with your frontline units. They can also be used for flanking if you want. They have a fairly high speed to do so, but they will take quite a bit of damage due to their small unit size. Last for the Giants are the Giant Champions. These are a heavyweight class two-handed club infantry. They have high armor and morale with good speed, very high melee attack of 62 but only a melee defense of 28. These guys have extremely high damage at 384 with good armor piercing values and high charge bonus. They cause fear to nearby enemy units and provide a morale bonus to nearby friendly units. These guys should definitely be mixed in with your frontline units due to the morale bonus they give. It should also be noted that all giant units can be used to break down gates. The Savage Centaur Warriors. These are the first actual cavalry unit in Troy. They are heavyweight class spear and shield cavalry. They are decently armored and have a missile block rate of 40%. Morale is fairly high. Insane speed at 89, 36 melee attack and 26 melee defense with damage at 95 and a charge bonus of 50. They also cause fear. These guys should be used for chasing down enemy missile units or flanking the enemy front line. And also you should be cyclocharging these and not leaving them in the frontline combat for too long. Now we have the Centaur Champions. These guys are beefy. They are heavyweight class spear and shield cavalry. They have high armor and a high missile block rate of 60%, very high morale and high speed as well, 46 melee attack, 32 melee defense with a damage of 120 and a charge bonus of 68. These guys also cause fear. They should be used in the same way as the Savage Centaur Warriors, flanking the enemy front line or chasing down missile units. Lastly, we have the Centaur Elders. These guys are a medium weight class bow cavalry. They have decent armor, high morale, high speed, fairly decent melee combat stats. They have 30 ammunition, 145 range, and pretty high missile damage of 45. They should be used to fire at the flanks of the enemy front line or harass any infantry units on the battlefield because they can run away and fire while moving. And that about wraps it up for Achilles' unit roster, and now we'll look into a mid-game army composition. Now let's go over the generic mid-game army composition for Achilles. This is in no way the best army composition, but it is well-rounded and should be able to outmaneuver many armies you encounter. We have 3 heavy swordsmen, 2 Phthian spears, 3 light swordsmen, 2 Aeginian runners, 1 renowned club warrior, 4 javelin throwers, 2 Aeginian javelin men, and 2 bowmen. Alright, so let's go over the basic army formation you're going to want to use for battle. We're going to have 3 heavy swordsmen in the middle with the Phthian spears on the flanks. We have 2 javelin throwers in the front with 2 bowmen up there as well. They'll get their first initial volleys off and then they'll retreat in the back. We have renowned club warriors in the reserve for whenever we need to bolster any parts of the front line engagement. We have a group over here. These are the flanking units, 2 light swordsmen, 1 Aeginian runner, and 2 javelin throwers. We'll bring these guys around. The light swordsmen will more than likely chase down some of the missile infantry, and the Aeginian runners will be used to actually hit the flanks of the enemy front line. So with the javelin throwers, they'll come up around and they'll position themselves at their backs. And then same thing on this side. We have 1 Aeginian runner, 1 light swordsman, and 2 Aeginian javelin men. These will be the more devastating volleys, so we need to make sure these guys get up into the backs of the enemies or fire at any enemy missile infantry. But we'll be chasing down the missile infantry with the swordsman, so there's not really any need for that. So we'll mainly be using these guys to volley at the enemy frontline backs. This is all about flanking and just sort of outmaneuvering the enemy. So if they do have any units coming around the flank, we do have answers for that, and we can overwhelm them quickly because these units are quick or are fast. So we can quickly surround them and then just destroy them and rout them before they can do anything else. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video and found it informative for your Achilles campaign. Next we will be reviewing Paris's unit roster. Also make sure you drop a like and subscribe for more.